Hello. So I wanted to do a brief little video today because I've had a lot of my clients asking lately, what is desensitizing? What is counter conditioning? How do we do it? When do I use it? All that kind of stuff. So I wanted to do the live today, or make this video today, to kind of get that information out to you. So when would we use desensitizing and counter conditioning is we have to think of dogs' behavior like a spectrum. Here's the spectrum, here's the line. This middle would be, your calm dog, that's balanced. Now on either side of this, here on one side, we're gonna have fear, and the other side, we're gonna have overexcitement. Now, we don't want to be on either end. We don't want this end to be way up and this end to be way down, or this end to be way up and this end to be way down. We want to be balanced. We want to be, I'm going to draw a triangle because this is going to be where it's balancing on. We want to be right in the middle. So when we see a reaction that's emotionally based one way or the other, we need to desensitize and counter condition. So when I see a dog that's fearful and is unsure of something, I would use desensitizing and counter conditioning. When I have a dog that's acting out of overexcitement, I'm also going to desensitize and counter condition. So two very different emotions, but I'm going to use that to balance out here. So we have this flat line. Oh, I wish I had we'll just use my hand to erase this picture. So let's, majority of the time is what I see fear-based. So I'm going to base the scenario on a fear-based scenario. So I always think of the dog like a little mountain here. And this side of the mountain, this right side here, is starts with our calm, normal behaviors and slowly works up. Sorry, I should have had this picture drawn prior. So here might be our calm. Then we start seeing stress signals, maybe panting, lip licking, avoidance, maybe some snarling. So the signs are all different, but this is our threshold point at the tip. The threshold point is the point at which we're able to function before we tilt over onto this side of the mountain, which I call seeing red. Now, seeing red is different for every dog, what seeing red is. When I say it to a client, like when I'm talking about a specific situation, they all know what I'm talking about. They're like, yep. But let me give you a scenario here. Seeing red would be the dog that when they see the dog, maybe another dog, out of fear, they're going to lunge, they're going to bark, they're going to like scream really, and act crazy. That's the seeing red. Once you're in the seeing red, that is not a learning time. Once you've fallen over threshold, there's no communicating. We cannot use that as a teaching opportunity. So the idea with desensitizing and counter conditioning is we need to stay at threshold and under. We cannot tip over into the seeing red. Now, it's not easy to say that we're going to stay in threshold, because although there's a lot of stairs here to get to that threshold point, usually it only takes about 1 or 2 seconds. But in that time, they are showing a lot of signals. There's a lot of pre-signals before we get into the seeing red. Every dog is different, but let's use this fear case, fear of other dogs and the reaction. Usually, and we'll say this specific dog, there's freezing. The dog will freeze. Then they'll hyperfixate. Then they'll react. Now that happens very quickly, but if you can learn to catch this, we can say, okay, at the moment of freezing, I'm going to stop and I'm going to work with you there. Now, if we freeze, we hyperfixate, then we go over threshold and then we react, it's too late. So we have to learn to catch our dog's behavior before it gets to that seeing red portion. So here in this specific case, it would be the freezing. As soon as they freeze, I'm going to use this opportunity as a training scenario. We haven't gotten to what that training scenario is yet, but this is just how we're going to get there. Now, in a perfect world, we can stay under threshold and we can work every time, but I mean, life is hardly ever perfect, let's be honest. You're going to go into the seeing red portion. When we get into the seeing red portion, again, it's not a learning time. We need to manage. We just need to get out of the scenario. So if my dog's reacting, I'm not going to sit there and I'm not going to try to make this learning scenario. I'm going to get out of there. I'm going to let my dog calm down and then we can try again. But I'm not going to use that seeing red as a scenario. So now let's talk about how we desensitize and counter condition. This is a fear case that I'm talking about, this made up case that I just made up. And I'm gonna give you a human scenario of this. My fear is spiders. If there's a spider, say I see it in this building right now, I'm gonna burn the building down. It's the only safe way. I'm not gonna sit here and play around. No, I'm out of here, bye. Now, if there was a spider in here and someone else was with me and they were like, go touch it, the odds that I'm gonna go touch this spider are -1,000,000%. -1,000,000% I'm gonna go touch this spider. But now, what if someone changed the motivation and criteria? What if there was a spider and it was a half football field away and someone said, if you look at that spider, I'll give you $1 million. Okay, my percentage went from -1,000,000 to, okay, I think I can do it. I think I can manage that. I think I can look at it and get $1 million. And then what if they told me every spider you look at, I'm going to give you $1 million. I might think to myself, okay, I might start looking around, looking in corners, looking behind things and under things, doing a behavior I would have never done before. Now, because my motivation has changed, I've changed behavior. That's exactly the desensitizing process. And the counter conditioning process too. We're changing a behavior here. Again, I would never be looking around for spiders. Now I might. Keep giving me $1 million, I might do this. You've changed my behavior here. So I'm changing an emotional response and a physical response. Desensitizing would be the emotional. Counter conditioning would be that physical response that we see. So that would be the human version. Now let's go to the dog version. The dog version is, I have to change your emotional response, which is fear. You're immediately reacting and showing fear. I have to change that response to something different. Now that we see fear, I need to change that to maybe excitement. So keeping my dog under threshold when they see another dog, instead of their first response being, oh my gosh, that other dog, I'm going to pay you. I'm going to give you a treat. And I'm going to say, look at that. Here's a treat. So now, instead of that dog representing something scary, it's representing something awesome. The end result of this would be my dog sees that other dog and goes, oh, where's my treat? Where's my awesome treat? Rather than, oh my gosh, another dog, I'm super scary. So I'm changing that emotional response. The counter conditioning portion would be, instead of lunging and barking, I look at my mom for a treat. So now I've changed our emotional and our physical behaviors there. So this is the very intro to desensitizing and counter conditioning. It is way more in depth than this, but this is kind of just the idea of it and how we go about it. So I hope this definitely gives you guys an idea of the process of it. And if you have any more questions, let me know.